Join us as we go exploring the world of Pokemon. Today's topic, the dark Pokemon Houndour. Within the Johto region, many species live in peace, but little do they know there is something stalking them, as in the shadows of Johto, Houndour hunts. This dark and fire type is renowned for ferocity and strength, and has been loved by many, but also feared. They tend to live in groups, where they stalk prey. Although usually found in groups, they constantly fight for dominance, where on some rare occasions a Houndour can be found alone, where, in this case, they struggle. But when united, these Pokemon are deadly. In its dex entry, to corner prey, they check each other's location, using barks that only they can understand. Their intelligence and ferocity compounds, as clearly these pack hunting Pokemon succeed far more often together, instead if they were alone. Their disposition is believed to be the inspiration in naming the dark type as a whole, as the earliest research into the type can be found in the Johto region, with Houndour originally being known as a dark Pokemon. But what could inspire such reverence? Houndour and its behavior have been long seen from various perspectives. On one hand, Houndour has been ferocious, and when people began to expand throughout Johto, they heard the howls. As, around dawn, its ominous howl echoes through the area to announce that this is its territory. This was not helped with the fact that Houndour would plunder farms for livestock and when angered burn fields by the use of their fire moves, ultimately leading to conflict with people, as fear and conflict would end up causing a massive shift in Johto's ecology as a whole. Trainers would see Houndour forced out of Johto by a combination of factors. First, the constant fear of Houndour led to many people catching them to a point where the wild population could not keep up. Secondly, most Houndour would find their way into Pokemon poaching. Sadly, they make very good and powerful allies when trained, and they fetch a high price to those who would like to buy them. Thirdly, a criminal organization using them did attack Johto, and with the use of Houndour, this led to the image that Houndour was only evil. And sadly, for a small time, Houndour became almost impossible to find in the Johto region. For a small time, the people were happy, as this and many more were excited as they said their fear would go away. But then a question by many researchers from other regions asked, what could have instilled so much fear in the people, and why would they be happy that this Pokemon disappeared? Fire is scary, but when you mention Houndour, people shudder. The dark Pokemon's reputation has even been mentioned in science, as if you are burned by the flames it shoots from its mouth, the pain will never go away. This phantom pain is possibly due to the pungent smelling flames that shoot from its mouth results from toxins burning in its body. As well as that, Houndour's appearance is extremely imposing. They, just like Houndour, live in groups, and these individuals, with their horns raked sharply back towards, serves the leadership role. They choose their leaders by fighting. This has been responsible in adding to their rough reputation, with the conflicts reaching a different level and Houndour's being known for unfortunately burning down fields and forests in these struggles is raised the terror. As with conflicts ranging from war to crime, Houndour has usually been seen as a symbol of fear and death, as, long ago, people imagined its eerie howls to be the call of the Grim Reaper. As superstition and the fear that Houndour brought raised terror in many, and unfortunately, just like Houndour, it was revered as something to be afraid of. But, as we know now, Houndour does not possess any of those abilities and does not deserve the reputation it has, as it truly possesses the looks can be deceiving. The fierce loyalty that this species exudes is in its flame of love, which, when united by a trainer, can result in a truly amazing combination. Like many Pokemon, Houndour can utilize the Mega Evolution phenomenon to surpass their limits. A Mega Houndour was even seen fighting alongside a group of heroes that saved Kalos. Only with people working alongside these great Pokemon can we see the perception of the grim turn into a sight that makes you grin. As Houndour is a fierce and loyal Pokemon that, when tied together with its trainer, can become an unstoppable force for good. Hey guys, as you know, this is the part of the video where I ask you to like and subscribe as well. We don't have ads, but I do like you guys to add yourself to the ad army. Now pat yourself on the back as we get into the next half. Thank you. The story of Houndour and Johto is definitely one that many would like to forget. And unfortunately, it is something that continued for some time. But luckily for us, it's no longer the case. For a brief period, Houndour was an impossible sight in the Johto region. And for many who were afraid of Houndour and disliked this Pokemon, this was seen as a sight of joy. But unfortunately, when you remove such an important Pokemon from an ecosystem, this causes chaos. And like their joy, it was briefly lived. Being an apex predator, Houndour's removal led to a population boom of so many species, one such being Stantler. Without Houndour and Houndour's presence, the population grew out of control, as the Stantler began to reproduce on a level not seen in a long time, and without them being afraid of the Houndours and Houndours, they began to move into territories that they had normally never been seen in. And one of these such issues that they were causing was the massive population of Stantler began to strip trees of branches, which impacted so many other species in Johto that this led to people actually using the move Headbutt on their Pokemon to check trees for Pokemon, as obviously as trees died or some of the trees began to grow very high, the levels of them being able to spot lower hanging Pokemon for trainers meant that they had to find a way to get Pokemon out of the trees. The trees that ended up being stripped also inadvertently led to the species decline of a certain rock Pokemon that likes to imitate trees. But more importantly, that these trees that were stripped eventually died, and this ended up leading to the decline and the collapse of Stantler's population, as the species became very hard to find and difficult to see in Johto as well. Especially in large numbers, herds used to be numerous, but in this case, they're very small. As many believed and figured out that because of the reduction of Houndour and the disappearance of it, the population boom was a symbol of collapse as nature had been out of balance. And then many researchers were able to convince the people of Johto, and the consensus was in. We needed Houndour. But we needed to find some first, as the search in Johto was turning no results, as many were losing hope, until two major developments broke through. As Houndour disappeared, its population ended up being driven out into many different areas and regions, and to everyone's shock, a small population was discovered, in Kanto of all places. Just outside of Saffron, in Kanto, some of the last Johtonian Houndour could actually be found. They were observed entering the city at night in order to supplement their diets. Originally believed to be a released group captured by an unknown group of trainers, these Houndour would be responsible in repopulating Johto's missing Houndour. Secondly, after the completion of the Safari Zone in Cianwood City, a unique spectacle took place. As inside of Johto's Safari Zone, one of its unique features is to utilize items to attract foreign Pokemon that have been stocked for trainers to enjoy. On strange occasions, trainers reported that a Fire-type Pokemon was seen in one of the areas, but it did not match any of the Pokemon that were stocked into the Safari Zone. When a patron was finally able to catch one of these Pokemon, they showed it off, and to the shock of everybody, this Pokemon was indeed Houndour. Believed to be a population that had been secluded prior to the Safari Zone's completion, they decided to stay. As most people know, the Safari Zone is always stocked with food for the Pokemon that they have, so the Houndour and Houndoom eventually became a regular occurrence in the Safari Zone. And in time, Houndour's population boomed. With the aid of trainers and the new knowledge for farmers, a balance was found, as now Houndour and Houndour can be seen in large numbers in Johto, and the number will still be increasing to reach the levels that they used to do in the past. As Johto and its inhabitants can now look forward to seeing this fire-breathing dark dog in all of its majesty. This has been What's Up with Houndour, and this is Brad from the Ad Army signing off, and for all of you out there to sign on.